We are Journals Out Loud. I am your host, Louise Palanker.
Wow.
Yes.
Yep. This is
pretty good.
Wow.
We
like
are
floating.
a show for teens, about teens, with teens. We've got teens here. We're talking about all wonderful teen issues and important teen issues. We're the show that matters. We're here with a panel that includes some really marvelous animation superstars that we've amalgamated for the evening's proceedings. Plus, we've got our teens, Brady and Kenneth. You guys are the only actual teens that showed up?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
What actually...
Teen Chat.
happened?
Brady and Kemp.
We're teens.
Yep.
Yeah. So
BK.
I guess Lyric has measles, mumps, chicken pops.
Yeah.
Chicken pops.
Chicken pops.
Chicken
That's
pops.
exactly what she has.
And Victoria has what's called this. She has this condition called an audition.
Oh
how
my
she
God.
came down with
It's
that.
terrifying.
Yes. And then who else is not here?
Josh.
Oh, Josh.
Josh, yeah.
Josh
Josh
is
is
like
in
our
Europe.
guy. Josh is in Europe.
Yeah.
So
He's a superstar.
He was stolen.
yes.
Taken
Europe
to Europe.
took him from us.
Get him back. We need to start a
Bring
campaign.
Josh back.
Bring Josh back.
2K15.
Uh-huh.
T-shirts. And then in the studio, we have a former panelist who has gone on to wonderful things that she's going to describe for you. Her name is Rebecca Goldberg.
Hi.
Yes.
Oh my God, a round of applause.
Oh,
Yes,
Goldberg.
Rebecca Goldberg.
I should always leave and come back.
You should do it often, but you'll notice that the applause. There's diminishing returns on the applause breaks.
so
You know,
noted.
the number of times you leave and come back. But you've gone after your dreams
I did.
to the point where you now work at DreamWorks.
I do. I worked for my dreams. Or
Works.
That's what they tell
Yes. And do you have a parking spot with your name on
me.
it?
No.
Oh.
I have to park a block and a half from my office.
Oh. Well, all right, but they let you in. You've got a key card.
I have a
and
badge
you-
with my picture on it.
Okay. Question.
I have a
Brady.
question
Yes.
for Rebecca.
Sure.
By any chance, Rebecca Goldberg, what might your family heritage happen to be?
Are you asking if I'm Jewish?
Just wondering.
Wow.
Hey, Goldberg. I'm
Nobody's
Jewish,
had to
by
ask
the
me
way.
that for a long time.
Oh, they just know.
Well, I mean, yeah, Goldberg.
Yeah.
So
We were just talking about my boyfriend's name is Joel Shapiro.
And he's Italian. And we also have our big animation superstars. We have Kyle McCarley, who is the voice of many wonderful animated characters.
A couple.
A couple, yes. And we have Katelyn Gault, who's a very famous actress.
Oh, wow.
Have you done any voiceover work?
I am just getting into voiceover work. My agent has been sending me quite a few auditions as of late. So I've been auditioning for video games, apps, all sorts of things. And usually Kyle helps me. Because I'm like, Kyle, I don't know what to do. And so we'll, record in the studio together. And that's really fun, actually.
And then you can upload it, right? You can you can audition and send in your submission, everything from your home studio.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Young couple, Hollywood, living the dream, right here. They're making it happen.
Hey-o.
And so what's interesting about that is the way that I met Katelyn is she is designing our new website for journalsnetwork.com. And so multitasking, making it happen, getting, my new thing is GSD, like get stuff done.
Right.
Like, because that's my new motto. It's my new slogan. Just get stuff done. Like wake up every day, kids, and get stuff done. Because that's the thing that feels great. And so how did you figure out, I could come to Hollywood and I'll do this, but I'm going to need to make a living while I'm pursuing my goals. So how did you figure out that you would be good at working on websites?
Honestly, really, really honestly, in college, I dated a guy for about 2 years who was a Mac genius. He worked at the Apple store. And so just learning from him, I kind of got techie because, he was really into computers. And so I got really into computers. And then just kind of trial and error, really. I would want to be creative or I'd want to build a website for myself. So I would just figure it out. And then eventually I met the person I work for now and started learning more and more from the people that I work with at the company I work for. And it just spiraled from there. So,
And then that gives you the time to go on auditions and do your acting and be in plays and all of that.
Yep.
So how did you meet this guy?
This guy.
Yeah, this guy right here.
Well, I'm part of a theater company called Courage Theater Company. And one of our mutual friends was having a holiday party. And
and I was trying to date that mutual friend at the time.
Indeed. And I was trying to date somebody else who was at the party. But we met and we talked a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we saw each other again at a different event.
Yeah.
Like a few weeks later.
And then I invited her to game nights at my place because I host like a.
Kyle's obsessed with board games.
I have an addiction.
What's your favorite board game?
Oh, right now it's probably Coup.
Coup.
It's more of a card game than board game, but you know.
Nobody's
Board
heard
and
of it.
card,
Kyle.
yeah. That I have a cabinet full of board games you've never heard of.
I have friends who are
Settlers of
into
Catan.
those. The only one I've played is Pandemic.
Yeah,
I
it's a
enjoyed
good one.
it.
Ooh.
I enjoyed it.
I actually don't own that one, but I've played it.
Stratego. That's a good one. I don't know if you've ever played Stratego. That's a really good one.
You ever heard of Connect 4?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
You ever chess? Chess is a good one.
I think
High
I've heard
strategy.
of those.
Candyland? Anyone? You get that
Shoots
little,
and ladders?
you get little gumdrop like highway.
With Candy Cane Lane.
What?
Yeah,
You
Candyland.
know.
Candyland. A lot of strategy involved. Yeah.
Super.
You play it until the child falls asleep and you win.
Or cries.
Indeed.
So Rebecca Goldberg, how you're just one of those people that just kind of like keeps whittling away at it until you get like closer and closer to your dream
That's
because
very
you
nice.
went to college
I did.
and then you got I think you got your first job. Like, didn't you drive around Little Kardashians?
I did.
Yeah. Can we talk about that yet?
Sure.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
When I drove around Little Kardashians, they were little. And
Yeah,
now
they were
they're all
little, yeah.
adults.
They're little Jenner ones. You know the little
She was
Jenner ones?
14.
Yep.
She
Yeah.
wasn't that little.
Yeah. But anyway,
Different.
but they were like old enough to be like, oh, Rebecca.
Yeah, she was on her phone the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
wonderful.
fine. No, as she was like 13 or 14. I wouldn't want to be in a car with a stranger when I was 13 or 14.
that's what you
But
do
you're
when
cool.
I didn't blame her at all.
You're
She
cool.
didn't know who I was. That's
Anyway,
fine.
so you
I
drew-
dropped her off at her friend's house, but I made her get her parents' permission first.
Yeah. So,
I'm a
Well done.
babysitter.
Really?
That's the way to go.
Yeah,
So
so
you-
you have to call your parents.
so any Kendall Jenner secrets that would humiliate her today?
She failed her driver's test the first time.
I knew it.
Wow.
All right. And then, so you worked, so that was like, that's an industry job. And you worked your way. How did you parlay that into the next layer?
I worked in production for 6 months, and then I didn't like not having a schedule. And then my friend was working at a talent agency, and she had a very strict schedule. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And she helped me get an interview, and I worked for an agent for a year. And working at a talent agency is like business, like the industry grad school. So once I got that, I moved over to 20th Century Fox TV studio, home of The Simpsons and also Empire. And
Just those.
those are the main ones.
Yeah.
And I worked there for 2.5 years as an assistant to a wonderful animation executive. Considering that those animation shows are like some of the biggest shows, it was a very small department. I got experience there and realized that I really liked animation, and then moved over to kids, which is where I really wanted to be, and was lucky enough to get a job at DreamWorks where I'm technically not an assistant, I'm a coordinator, and I get to give notes and be part of shows and read scripts and just do that stuff.
So what voice would Kyle be perfect for next week?
I'm not in the casting department, but I'm sure you could do anything.
Well, thank you.
I have high hopes for you. We have a lot of different kinds of animals you can play, or cavemen.
You
or-
should hear his reel. Like he has a lot of range.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I try.
So what animal have you played?
Great question.
Animal.
Have you?
Have I is a good question. I don't know.
Anyone from another planet?
What spirit animal are you?
Well, yeah, actually, the title, well, not the title, but the lead character in the new Gundam series is from Mars.
Okay, how does
Really?
how does he
That's
sound?
interesting.
Let me hear
He's
the
human,
Martian accent.
so he's human, and
Does he sound like Matt Damon?
Does he sound like Mars?
He's from Cambridge, right?
That's what the Mars culture is going to sound like. It's going to be a Boston
So I
accent.
want to hear one of your
He's-
voices. Okay.
he's about, how old is he? About 14, 15 years old, and very serious. So it's a lot that's kind of like just right up in this range so that I sound a little bit younger, and then just very serious all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically Mikazuki.
He doesn't get sarcasm.
No, not really.
No. So what are some times where you go home and you're like, all right, I have to figure out how this guy's going to sound. Like, how do you go like around the house, like just kind of scaring the neighbors? Like, oh, she's laughing. What's the creation process like?
Well, a lot of times when I'm trying to come up with something, I will, because a lot of times the specs on an audition will say, sounds like so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
I can create character voices like it's nothing, but I cannot imitate to save my life.
Yes,
Okay.
you can. You can do Launchpad from DuckTales.
I can do Launchpad McQuack.
Please do Launchpad
DuckTales?
McQuack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one character that I can.
Woo!
Hey there, Mr. McD. But Terry McGovern's got that.
It kind of sounds
locked
like
up.
Peter Griffin. Hey there.
Not too far away, I suppose.
Just more Martian accent.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Brady and Kenneth, animation fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions for these guys?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a fan of, like, I had a big anime fan. Anime phase.
I do a lot of that.
I had a big anime phase when I was in high school, in middle school. And I was like, I would consume like all of this stuff basically. Like, I mean, it was just, everything. Like, so, like, how did you even get into that part of the industry? Because that's like, I don't even know like who's advertising it or how you even get there.
Anime is really big down in Texas. So if
Really?
if you happen to be listening to this or watching this and you're in the Houston area or Austin area, it's a great market for anime. But
I think it's because Texas is so close to Japan.
right,
That's
right.
true.
Must
yeah.
be it.
No, I would no.
Compared to all the other U.S.
I don't
states.
think it's that
Wait,
close
wait,
to
wait.
Japan.
Let me look at the map. Okay. You're right, Kenneth. You're right.
No,
Why
that's
is anime popular in Texas?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
one
confused.
of the biggest companies for dubbing anime into English is based out of Houston, Funimation. So that makes a
yeah.
big
makes sense.
So everybody's kid is into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. But to answer your question, how I got into it was I attend a lot of industry workshops in the LA area with casting directors from video games and cartoons and whatever.
Right.
And went to one of those workshops with the casting director at Bang Zoom Entertainment, which is like a powerhouse in the anime industry in LA. And she liked me enough to have me audition for a few things, eventually called me in for a little character in a show here and there, and then started casting me in bigger and better things. And that was, I think that all started a little over a year ago. So
That's amazing.
happened.
And you've done like serious stuff. Like, I mean, you're
Real things.
lead character in Gundam.
Yeah,
Now, that's
I'm the lead in
crazy
Gundam.
to like get there in a year.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
It's pretty great.
He's really good.
And now
Living
he's
a
on,
dream.
he's on this show.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within a year.
Well, this is
Wow.
it's all downhill from here.
Doing voiceover with Louise. You're just gonna start saying Louise's mouth move, and it's gonna be your voice instead.
Yeah.
we should work on
But
that.
be careful, Louise.
Yeah.
This is from when Kenneth spilled coffee on my script.
Thanks.
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, you weren't just helping her. I thought you
Yeah.
were being kind, but it turns out you actually
No,
messed
he's
up.
often kind, but that time he was just kind of brutish. He
It's kind of
moved-
on purpose too.
Yeah.
I just kind of grabbed your coffee and was just
he just-
poured it over
yeah.
the script.
He goes, "I'll wake your script up." It's not very peppy. All right.
Does
so
he really sound like that?
Yeah, I'm
Is
kind
that
of
the
like,
voice?
I got you now.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Perfect.
I'm auditioning to play Kenneth in a new animated.
I can do Louise and Beyonce. Those are my two best voices.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
You want to do the Beyonce right now?
Surfboard. That's
There you
that's
go.
my best one. But that's all I got.
All right, so this is a good question, and I think everybody will have a different answer because it's so good. Anonymous writes, and we get a lot of letters from him.
Okay.
He writes, "Should we know our boyfriend's Facebook password? Should we check their phones?" Before I answer, and I am the one with all the wisdom in all the world, but before I hit you with that profound stuff, I just want to know, because you guys are not married. See, I'm married, so there's one answer I think for married people, which is that you probably should, in case of an emergency or in case they don't understand Facebook and you need to log into it for them.
Right.
Like, which is the person I'm married to, which is probably not your situation. So
Yeah.
if you're not married and like you guys live together, right?
We're
Yeah.
engaged.
So you're engaged.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take it down a level from that, and we'll come back to you.
I'm
Okay,
not
that's
married.
fine.
If you're dating
Uh-huh.
Rebecca Goldberg,
Yes.
if you're dating
Yes.
Joel, but you're not living with Joel yet,
Okay.
do you guys know each other's passwords?
No, not Facebook.
No, not Facebook.
I mean, I do live with him, but I know his phone code only for convenience.
Yeah, for convenience. But you don't torture yourself by thinking, "Uh-oh, should I check it?" Like,
No.
no, it's not for. If you know it, it's for convenience and not because you're supposed to be going in there.
Right.
It's really
Yeah.
You don't need to be going in there if you
Yeah.
trust
No.
your person. Don't drive
Right.
yourself crazy.
And if you
It's like
don't
she-
trust your person, then
it's
you've
like
got
she's-
other issues.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. But doesn't it feel like she's
This is a
saying,
symptom.
"Is this my job?
Yeah.
Is this my assignment?"
Yeah.
And
No.
It's kind of
Can
sounds
it-
like she has a problem, and she's kind of like, "Is it weird that I feel like I should know these things?" And I mean, she was very specific with Facebook. It wasn't like Instagram or something else. She said like, "Should we know our boyfriend's Facebook?" Which means that there's probably an issue in that area. I mean, like the phone, like you said, like it's just kind of something that you like just know. Like you see them type in, it's like, oh, okay, nothing big there. But if it's like you specifically want to know their password for Facebook, it means that there's probably a bigger issue there.
Yeah.
I would say
Probably.
the
Yep.
job is not knowing the Facebook password. The job is like having an open dialogue with the person you're dating so that if you have questions about what they're doing, you can just go and ask them and trust that you're going to get an honest answer.
Rather than just
Yeah.
going snooping for
Exactly.
those answers.
That's only going
yeah.
to cause
Yeah.
more problems.
Right. It's like you're saying, "Oh, how do I torture myself because I pretty much believe I deserve to be tortured?" Cuz this is just a recipe for you just making yourself crazy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And if you trust your boyfriend, then there's nothing to see here. Go
Right.
go along with your day, Brady.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that the way that this person is like asking it is it okay to like check your boyfriend's phone? Like, should we be doing that? I mean, I don't know why like somebody would assume that that's something that is just like maintenance in the relationship. Like you got to check his phone every couple months or
right.
so.
That's the way dude, she posed it. Like,
Gotta
is
check.
this part of what I'm supposed to be doing?
No,
you're
it's
not the
not.
guardian of
No.
your boyfriend.
And the goal is to build a strong enough relationship to the point where you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, And,
Right.
And otherwise, like that again, like somebody else said, you have a real problem if I think
Yeah.
it's you.
Yeah, Kyle.
Yeah.
said-
Yeah.
I mean, you have a real problem if like you're actually worried.
Yeah.
That's something that
If-
is not like going to be found in the Facebook. It's something that is tearing you up in your heart.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And there's so much technology nowadays that it's like, at what point does it stop? Like, what password do you not know?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, if my husband is driving and he needs me to text his sister, I'll open the phone and text, or I could text her from my phone too. But like, if he wants me to read him a text or something like that, and he's driving, like, then yeah, I know how to unlock his phone. But I don't go looking at his phone.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I don't. There's no need for that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even opened your phone, to be honest.
My phone doesn't have a lock code, so you're fine.
Well, I mean, like I don't
That's
even
trust.
see. I don't even know that it doesn't have a lock code.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's how
real.
much I don't care about your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's not, your level of trust doesn't lie in some answer that his phone is going to reveal to
Right.
you.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
All right. So Anonymous writes, my stepsister likes Oh, I love this question so much. Oh, this question is delicious, and I'll
It
tell
is,
you. I'll tell you
yes.
why. It represents so much about kids finding themselves in certain passions and believing that then they therefore must own that alone, be the sole owner of that passion. And it reminds me of the day that one of my sisters decided she liked Bobby Sherman after the other sister had already claimed him. All right. So, and yes, I'm 100. Okay.
Bobby Sherman.
Yeah. My stepsister likes 5 Seconds of Summer. She showed me the band to me one day, so I started listening to the music, and I told her that I thought that the band was really good. She then told me that I was not allowed to like them or listen to their music. She threatened me via text saying, and I quote, "I will fight you, and if you stay liking things I like, I will cry." That's Brady's favorite part.
Wow, this is a very
It's just like like I'm gonna fight you if you keep doing this. Wait, no. I'm gonna fight you That is
That's
that's
certain.
just
That's
she's
already
going
decided.
to fight you.
That's
That's already
stable.
decided.
But if you keep doing it even after I fight you, then I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I won't cry while I fight you.
Right.
I
I'm a
will
threat.
fight you first, and then I'll cry.
I like the tactics there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's like I'm much weaker than you initially thought. I'm a very sensitive person, okay?
What should I do? I'm scared to confront her about it because I might get in trouble. No, you will not get. Okay. Okay.
First of all, 5 Seconds of Summer is basically 4 Bobby Shermans in a band.
I
I think we
know.
can all agree just 4 Bobby Shermans with lip rings.
One of them
Yep.
has red hair.
Right.
Right.
I have
Okay.
no
that
idea.
goes.
Yeah.
That goes swoopy.
5
It's got a
seconds of-
You don't
swoopy.
know who
They're
they
all
are.
swoopy or sticky.
It's swoopy and
uppy.
sticky. Okay, I
Yeah.
get you guys. All right, but the thing is, like, nobody gets to lay a claim. Like, go to Twitter and see how many followers they have, and be like, in your face, 5 billion people also like them. Are you gonna
Right.
fight all of them?
Yeah.
And then cry every time.
It's a lot of tears.
You're busy. You have a busy. It's not gonna be 5 seconds of summer. That's gonna be your whole summer, because you can't take on.
Great joke, Louise. That was
Wow.
Boom.
got him.
No, but how much of this is based on the step nature of your sisterhood, right? The competitive.
Oh,
part of it,
totally.
And why did she show you the band if she didn't want you to like them? Someone else talk, because Trish is done with me.
Well, I just feel like you're not gonna get in trouble because it's not gonna be like she likes 5 Seconds of Summer, and then you're like, yeah, she said she's gonna fight me, and then she's gonna
Of course,
cry.
yes.
Right.
Like, what did you?
She's gonna get in trouble
Yeah.
for threatening you.
She's like, I'm gonna fight you for 5 Seconds of Summer.
Doesn't
then-
that sound like an episode of the Brady Bunch where the people who
Yes.
solve it are 5 Seconds of Summer who come over to their house and say, "Hey, hugs for everyone."
Yeah, pretty much every Disney sitcom now. Yeah.
Oh God.
I also kind of think that this impulse to feel possessive over your
Yeah.
interest is something that continues on, and you just sort of, it becomes part of your life. Like when you like a band before they're popular, and then they get popular, and then you're like, I don't like them anymore. They're not good. That happened to me recently. And you just have
Where
to be
you did that?
Or you
I
see,
felt that way, yeah.
Or
Or
you see the people at shows, if you really, really like a band and you like them before they were famous, and they're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I've been with you since the beginning.
Yeah.
And you hear
Oh.
them screaming about it, and you're like, whoa, dude, chill.
No,
It's going to be okay.
no, there's even more ownership in liking their old stuff. you know,
Right,
Oh
right,
my
right.
God.
Original.
Yeah.
you guys.
It's that hipster mentality,
Like,
too.
mhm.
You know
Yeah, because
exactly. You know what I'm
this
saying?
goes on forever. But there was this kid in the app, and she was saying something some band is it's got a number in it, 29 somebodies or something.
10,000
Matchbox 20?
Maniacs.
No,
Can we name all the
No,
bands
it's
with
like-
numbers in them?
Was
30
it
Seconds
One
of Summer.
Direction?
it's not
Oh,
One
God.
Direction. No, it's a newer band, but it's got 20 something.
27 pilots or something?
Yeah,
Or-
something, yeah.
Yeah, 20.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Heard of them.
Oh, that one.
And they're and the kid was like, now everyone at my school likes this, and I'm just like, you guys don't even understand them the way I do, because
Right.
and I'm not making fun of anyone who really, because that's how you feel at 14. You feel like, oh
Yeah.
wait, I really understand this band, and you.
Right.
So, but rather than feeling and this is me talking to your stepsister, not to you, rather than feeling like, oh, you don't get to like them, don't you think the band would want more fans?
Yeah.
And so, if you
Right.
really like them, let them have more fans.
Yeah.
Right.
Kenneth.
And music is something that's meant to be shared. It's not meant
Yeah.
to be owned,
Right.
and it's just kind of one of those things where everybody wants to be special. That's why oh, I knew this band faster than all of you did, and I know their old stuff. It's who cares?
No, I mean, and it is cool, but say it in a way that's inclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, let me turn you on to some
Yeah,
of their
you
other
should
stuff.
listen to their old
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Brady.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder how this entire situation came about. The stepsister basically shows her sister this band, and how does that turn sour?
Where did that go bad?
Yeah.
Where does
Go to a
this
concert
situation?
together.
Yeah, this could
know.
bring you closer together.
It's-
Exactly.
It's just like here's this cool thing I like, and now you're not allowed to take any interest
Yeah.
in it.
Well, maybe as long as you guys don't both have the same favorite, because it's really fun if you don't have the same favorite.
Oh, person.
very
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you both have the same favorite, I don't know who he's gonna marry.
That's when you
Are
guys
you
need to-
suggesting, Louise? Are you
What?
suggesting that they just learn to get along?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's crazy.
That is. That's so Rodney King,
Who does that?
1997 or whatever year that happened. I'm sorry.
Another
Sorry.
I don't
another great
remember dates and
reference
things.
for all the
92,
teenagers.
92. Anonymous writes, what does it mean if I think both sexes are attractive and I can imagine dating both, but I'm only sexually attracted to the opposite sex? I've just noticed that there are so many labels and I don't know if I fit any. I think I'm straight, but I'm curious to see what it's like to date a girl. I'm a girl.
It means you're the chosen one.
I feel like this is
You're
a
the
really
only one.
relevant question because Rowan Blanchard came out as queer yesterday.
True.
And I really liked, she seems like a very smart and together young lady.
Yeah.
And I really liked that she used the term queer because it's flexible. It's not about being like, I'm bisexual, I'm a lesbian. It's just saying I'm open and I'm not straight and there's a spectrum and I'm on it. And I think that's a great way to just start to evolve your identity and your
I think kids
thoughts?
really want labels because they're trying to figure themselves out, but labels aren't always going to be exact, or you could give yourself one today if you want to go on Tumblr and find one and then be like, all right, but it might change tomorrow. Brady?
There was a great post on Humans of New York yesterday, or the other day. That was I don't know if anybody of you have seen Humans of New
Oh,
York.
yeah, it's awesome. You should
But they
definitely
take
check it out.
portraits of people in New York,
Yeah.
just random people, and the guy talks to them for like a couple minutes before he takes the photo, and then he I'm surprised that you haven't heard of this, Louise.
It's
This
on
is something that you would
I'll
find
check it out.
amazing. Yeah. But so anyway, so he's interviewing this guy, and the guy mentions that he's gay, and that he had struggled for years and years and years trying to find out what his sexuality meant, and he grew up in a very repressive household that didn't really encourage all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so his journey was he knew that these labels were out there, right? He knew that there was all of this sexual stuff that was on the horizon, but he couldn't express it. So he turned to music, and he started doing all these other extracurricular things, and it totally took his mind off of his sexuality, even though it was obviously a concern for him. But it took his mind off of all that, and by the time that he was able to actually confront those feelings and come out as a proud, open gay man, he already had all of these other things that were part of his identity that he didn't have to just say, okay, I'm a gay man, and that isn't how he grew up as, I'm a gay man, By the time he got to that point in his life, he could already identify himself with, skills and
Right.
an actual
Yeah.
character that he developed over time.
Which everybody is a million things.
Yes.
So
yes.
if you're gay or straight or something in the middle, you're not just that. That's not, you don't have to put that on your business card and walk through the world with that on your forehead.
Totally.
Like that.
Well,
It's just a part of you.
I think
Right.
that the point is we're talking about all this stuff now, and we're all really young talking about this stuff. Kids are actually talking about their sexuality and all these different labels and identities, and transgenderism is a thing that's being talked about by the young people now, which is crazy, and it's a good thing, but it's also worrying because if you preoccupy yourself with gender politics and sexuality politics and all of these identity politics that aren't productive, ultimately, I think that it's, you can get distracted for a long time.
Yes,
it's
but
dangerous.
If you grew up and your thoughts were only the thoughts that were sort of expected of you based on the media you were watching,
Yeah.
then you don't really know what it's like to grow up watching all these romantic movies and thinking well, I don't, that's
Yeah.
not who I
Yeah.
picture kissing, and I don't,
Yeah.
that's not the clothes I want to wear because I if you, in other words, if you've never been challenged by what the world is, the message the world is giving you, then I don't feel like we're in a place to judge people that felt that kind of confusion.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kenneth?
Oh, yeah, I was actually just having a conversation with someone in my class today who's a lesbian, and she was talking about how there's a whole group of people that are confused about how there's no lesbian princesses or gay princess. Yeah.
Princess, yeah.
I don't know
That's
how
the
to. Those are
plural of
really
prince,
hard
Kenneth.
words. I just realized that. I was like, wow. But yeah, that's actually a thing, and people don't know that, and that's why there's so many people that are confused about their sexuality because they're the world tells them to be something
And fall in
And
love
they-
with a prince.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
don't know what to do when they don't feel that way.
Right.
And so that's why you just got to learn to do whatever you feel is right. And
Beck?
Yeah, I disagree that talking about and being preoccupied with gender and sexual politics is not productive because I do think it expands sort of what you think of as the possible spectrum of humanity. And the more that expands, the more accepting you can be of people. And also it's important to remember that like once you pick a label, if you pick a label, you're not stuck with it forever. Bisexual people dating the person of the opposite sex are not bisexual, and you know, you can date a girl and then be like, you know, I'm not into it, and date a guy and identify as straight, and nobody's gonna yell at you.
Yep.
I mean, like, yeah, I agree that like exploring like the spectrum of humanity and like finding out like what's out there and like, you know, who am I as a person? Like that's all important stuff. But like I think that when you talk about something like the spectrum of humanity, like what does that even mean?
It means that there's a bunch of possibilities that people can be, and it's not one thing or another.
Well, right, yeah, but like that's much more diverse than just sexuality and gender, you know? Like there's so many things that you can be as just a person, you know?
Sure.
That's like, it's more, I think that it's more important for kids to be focusing on like what's my character, you know, as opposed to I'm a gay person, that's how I identify. Look, I'm going to be hanging out with all these other gay people and we're all gay, you know, like that's our main identity, which I see. Okay, that's not, I'm not saying that it's bad to be gay. I'm saying that like there's people out there who make their sexualities or their gender their entire identity.
I think the reason it happens then in that order, Brady, is that I think there's a part of self that feels like I can't go on and explore art and music and architecture until I know who I am. Like there's this kind of desperation, like I got to get this squared away.
That's possible.
To free my mind to focus on, you know, for a lot of people. Yes.
And I feel like I understand what you're trying to say, and it's just like it's not like what, because you feel like it's wrong to like not. This is my interpretation of what you're saying, but it's like it's definitely important to explore sexuality and understand it, and not just ignore it and focus on other characteristics of your life. But the thing is, it's important to be a well-rounded person and to know, you know, also don't let your sexuality define you, but be able to understand who you are and to be able to be confident in the person that you
Right,
are.
yeah. And not just like, you know, letting your sexuality define like only who you are. You know, like all I'm talking about is the people like who discover what their sexuality is and they're like, oh, I'm gay. And then decide to like make that
the core of their being.
The core, like
I don't know that many people do that.
This is the thing, and it's especially like on the internet, like kids who
Well, those are
are
kids
like,
though.
And that's not how they
That's
present
the
themselves
thing.
on the internet.
Well, I mean, it's not just kids on the internet though. It's like there's a lot of it's the youth. It's youth who see this stuff which is in vogue right now. I mean, it's not like a phase or anything, but there's like a lot of
It's
new
under the
information
spotlight.
coming out.
There's a
But
sudden
kids are meant
freedom.
to grow.
There's a sudden freedom.
It's a movement, and I
yeah.
think that there's growing pains that are associated with that you know can lead to kids alienating themselves from everybody else because nobody else is
I see what you're
of their
saying.
sexuality
They're
or
like
their
drawing
gender.
a line and saying like,
They do.
you guys don't
Yeah.
get us and we're over here.
Yes.
And
The
it's-
thing
I
is
don't
that,
know. I
like,
think it's
that-
just funny to draw, like, to say that that's negative or not the best when I think that's a reaction to generations and generations of straight people or men or white people
But kids
or
are
straight
doing
white
this
men
who have drawn the line
who've drawn that line.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
this reaction where you're drawing a line and finding a space that's safe for you because you have society telling you that there aren't any safe spaces.
Well,
But
but
I'm-
you're also like dehumanizing the other people because you're making them out to be like even kids who are in like accepting and progressive homes like do this.
But
you
it's
know?
also like this is just the beginning of this whole thing. This is something that started a few years ago, and
Yeah.
people are still understanding this. And
Yeah.
it's separated into different groups. You're definitely right. There's a group that like only focus on their sexuality and make that their core, but there's also people that completely don't do that at all, like Ellen DeGeneres, and then there's completely other people that make it their core.
And
Like,
I'll say that, and I'll say this. I'll say I've lived with transgender people. I've lived with queer people, people who identify themselves in all sorts of ways. There is a us versus them mentality, regardless of whether or not that's historically like called for or not. I think that it's damaging to kids because if you're not listening to people just because they're straight, regardless of whether or not it's a reaction, it's a negative reaction.
Well, let me just say
it's
this.
bad to segregate
I
yourself.
think it's kind of a phase, and I don't think it's that different than saying I'm into 5 Seconds of Summer, and that's how I'm
Yeah.
going to
Well,
say. Were you just
I-
gonna?
I was
Yeah.
that was exactly what I was
Yeah,
going to say. Is
I'm-
that it? I think no matter what, kids are going to identify
Right.
Yeah.
with something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's why
Definitely.
there are.
Definitely.
That's why there's the jocks or
Yeah.
the cheerleader,
Right.
like,
Good
know,
point.
and
Yeah.
and not. I think it's okay to identify and to find something. Like, I was a drama kid. That made me feel safe. But I also was able to look around my high school and say, I respect the jocks. I respect the cheerleaders. That's cool. That's fine. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessarily bad that they do identify with the other people that are the same sexuality as them, because it's a safe place.
Where they know they'll be accepted.
Right.
It's honestly a matter of perspective. Everybody views it a different way.
Well, but the difference between being a drama kid and being a jock and all of that stuff is that there isn't an antagonism that you have. I mean, you can have an antagonism to the jocks as a drama kid if you don't like the jocks, you know. But the specific kind of antagonism that like LGBT kids are perceiving, it comes from everybody outside the world.
But you
like,
don't think
I
that
know, I
that's
definitely-
a real thing that they're feeling?
It is a real thing that they're feeling, but like not in every case. No, I think that it has to be taken on an individual by individual basis, because there are kids who will like abuse that and just like use that to segregate themselves and to say like, okay, I don't like the world, you know, because of maybe other stuff that's going on that doesn't even have to do with my sexuality. But kids will also use their sexuality as an excuse. Like, this has been my friends in high school.
But
Like,
I
I've
think
talked
the difference is that
I was just in high school, by the way. So, like, you know,
I understand that.
I'm just talking about the situation on the ground that I saw, that I was observing.
And I agree, because I'm in high school right now. You're out of it.
Kenneth is 14.
And
He's
damn it,
a
Brady,
freshman.
no, stop. No, but like, it's definitely a thing. The LGBT group is one of those groups that, like, some people are very good at making it kind of seem as a very like, oh, I'm gay, but there's a lot more to me. And some people are just like, I'm gay. This is who I am. Like, they make it like, oh, are you treating me that way because I'm gay? And they make it more like specific to them than a general idea. But it's definitely a matter of like, if you meet someone, that's not how they all are.
Yes.
Like, that doesn't mean just because one person's gay and that they make it their core doesn't mean that that's how they.
I mean, these are kids, you know, and if they don't have like, if they're hostile to anybody who's not LGBT, then they're not going to have any mentors, you know, like they're not going to be like receptive, you know, to what people are saying, you know. And there's a lot, I'm just saying that there's a lot that kids need, like that, you know, includes their sexuality, like finding out who they are sexually and you know, gender wise and everything like that. But there's also like just a whole
Keep your mind open.
vast,
is what you're saying.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
you need to, and it's the only way that you're going to develop as a human being is if, you know, you step outside yourself.
Right. You can find yourself and you can dig deep and find yourself, but you also have to always keep your eyes out, because there's people that want to know you and you don't want to necessarily look at them and go, no, that's not my kind of person, because you just never know. We're going to jump. This conversation is fascinating, but we're going to jump onto the phone call.
Oh, really?
Oh, give out the number. And then there'll be a phone call. That's how it works.
Hopefully.
We are 888-531-7171. I want to read this question to you because I like it. It's from Anonymous. What does it mean if a girl flirts with a lot of guys? I am one of them, and I really like her, but I don't know if she likes me or not. Okay, that girl, assuming it's high school, that girl who flirts with a lot of guys, what does that mean? Does it mean you're in the running? Or does it mean that she's just kind of like trying to see how cute she is by seeing who she can flirt with? Kenneth.
I think that's just a phase. I think that's just something that you go through when you realize like sexuality is a thing. You kind of, in the beginning, you kind of just like, oh, hi, I am a person that
Says the
is
boy.
sexual.
I was gonna say, I think
okay.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
this question should go to the girls.
I think it should
actually.
go to the girls too. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if either Rebecca or I were this girl. I know I wasn't this girl. I was just, you know, too shy to know that that's a thing you could do to get attention.
I didn't really know what flirting was.
I had
like,
these
I did it by
books like, you know, flirting. How do you flirt? Look down, look up.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I didn't get good at it until college.
So how about you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Theater
mean-
kids. I was a theater kid, too. So it's like, yeah, flirting, no. We don't know.
I don't know. Like, I was okay at it in high school, but at the same time, I wasn't one of the girls that had a bunch of confidence. That's probably why I was an actor, or am an actor.
I mean, I guess the thing is we could observe girls we knew. So if there was that girl that you knew that was flirting with everybody, what do you think was her motive? And what did any one
Low
of those guys?
self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And did any one of those guys have a chance?
I'm sure, yes. Yeah.
Depends on the girl.
It depends on the girl, and it depends on if it's the type of girl that doesn't have self-esteem and she's looking to, she's looking outside of herself to feel good about herself. And one of those guys she deems like, will, raise her status.
Flirtable.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a possibility. However, usually that girl doesn't stick around for very long.
Yeah. I mean, I think her eyes are always going to be darting around. Brady, what do you think?
I'm just wondering if there's like any way that we can get the United Nations to like mandate something, like a sign that you give men to let them know that you're interested, because like just like a pat or something, like on the shoulder, like, and that is like official. Like bound by international law.
Right.
Like if you touch somebody's shoulder.
Interested.
Yes, exactly. Well, yeah, but like it doesn't have to be like, I am now like legally attracted to you under the UN.
I have a
United
great
Nations.
idea. It could be like, the rural mailboxes where like you just put your flag up.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Like every woman should be forced to like carry around a flag, like a headband or something that you just
Put your flag up.
It's called
There you
saying
go.
I'm interested.
It's called being honest.
The hard part about that, though, is obviously that everybody's afraid of rejection on some
Yeah.
level, so
Yeah.
they're not going to go out and.
well, but that's why I'm
that's
saying
why they turn it up halfway.
That's why you're saying that
you
you
don't
would
go all
mandate.
the
It's
way
called
up.
wearing a wedding ring.
Hey, no takebacks.
Oh,
right?
these guys
No
are
take
engaged.
Yeah.
These guys are engaged.
Sorry, engagement ring.
And did we ever find out if you guys have each other's Facebook passwords? Did we get there?
Oh, we didn't get there.
No, she doesn't even know his phone password.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
he doesn't have a lock.
Nah.
All right.
Don't care.
So, I think a girl that flirts with a lot of guys is not a safe bet.
No.
Like,
not-
even
yeah.
if you do
No.
like her.
Certainly not for anything long term.
Yeah. And what you could do is like ask her questions about how she feels about things. Let her know that on a deeper level you're interested in her as a human being, Kenneth.
But then there's
Yeah.
also those girls that are like, I'm only into like bad guys. Like, they're, like that's actually a thing. I've actually
Well, like who?
met
like
a girl
Catwoman?
before that's like, oh, I'm kind of into jerks. It's like,
And
wow,
Kenneth was
cool.
like, I just knocked over a liquor store.
As you said that, I was literally kicking over a trash can.
I thought you were gonna say your mug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kenneth is officially a
There
bad
you
boy.
go.
He knocked over my coffee. So what is that? If we can just like take a little detour, what is that? A girl that's into bad boy? Like, why do you want bad boys? Is that also low
Yeah,
self-esteem?
I've never understood.
I think saying that is low self-esteem. I don't think that's
Yeah.
a real
like
thing
cry
that
out.
you're like only looking for jerks. I think that's something somebody says after they have bad experiences and then they're like,
Right.
"Oh, I guess I just
Yeah.
attract the wrong people."
You know what though? I did date a few of these said bad boys, and there is something exciting about it
exciting
and
and dangerous.
dangerous about it, and also there is the desire to want to be the girl that changes him.
Right, like
because
he's-
then you feel like you've rescued him. You will never rescue him, by the way, ever. You will never change him.
I will always pour mugs on scripts.
Always. You can't.
Yeah,
No, but
there
I'm
is
serious.
something very captivating about the concept of like nobody else could tame him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Only I loved the 5 seconds of summer, boys.
How do you even get to be a bad boy though? I feel like it would be a lot of work. Like I'm too
Leather
lazy to be a
jacket.
bad boy.
Brady, you're this close.
Well, you know what though? It's always like for a long time it's been that way. I mean, James Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girls
James.
love
He was
James
actually
Dean.
a
I
James
love
guy.
James Dean.
Like,
Yeah, I'm
wasn't
sure he was a
He was
nice
so
guy.
sensitive. Have you ever seen pictures of James Dean in glasses?
Yum.
Right.
Does that make him
Yum.
sensitive?
Yes,
Oh.
he was a sensitive method actor.
He
Instantly.
really was.
Instantly. Look at Brady. He's so
Sensitive.
sensitive.
Yeah.
Sensitive?
I'm gonna
the kinds of
cry.
glasses.
Savage. You just take it off.
Don't do that ever again, Ken.
I'm sorry. You
Girls
don't want
wore
to
James Dean glasses.
All right, so we have like 17 more minutes, and there's so many good questions. Does anyone have a favorite who looked over the script? Because I could just start reading one, or we could take one of your favorites.
Oh,
The one about the Christian summer camp is pretty good.
yeah, that one.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
So I work at this Christian summer camp for a few weeks each summer, and I love it there. The only thing is that the camp is extremely anti-homosexual. I completely accept the LGBT community and am bisexual myself. I kept it a secret, but I feel like it's wrong that I still work there. Is it wrong that I still work there because they are completely against it and I am bisexual? I don't agree with my camp at all, but I can't say anything about this because they would fire me. And like, I think it's kind of becoming a thing that people your age are change agents. And this is kind of like an old guard. And you kids probably all are pretty cool with LGBT. I don't feel like you have to like publicly. You don't owe anybody your truth if it's going to risk you your job and your friends and your. But you're not the only person feeling this way at your camp, and you're not necessarily lying to keep it to yourself like right now. But what do you guys think, Kenneth?
Well, you obviously don't want to be with a group of friends that hate. Like, if you're bisexual and you're with a group of friends that hate the LGBT community or don't accept it, you kind of don't want them to be your friends.
I don't think it's the kids.
Well,
I think it's the adults.
I was using that as an analogy to be like, if you're in work and if you're working at a place that doesn't accept something that you believe, that's a problem in a case, you know. But that. But
you're growing up in a Christian household, and so these are your friends, and this is the camp you go to. But like, I know a lot of like really strict Christian kids that are homeschooled up in Santa Barbara that I teach comedy to, and they're all like totally open about LGBT. Like, honestly, I think this generation is the generation that's going to make such a big difference.
It's the internet, though.
Yeah,
it's just going to be.
And they don't tell their parents.
Exponential.
This is just they talk about it amongst themselves, and they're like, "Yeah, we're very Christian, but." We're like, I'm bi and we're this and I'm that, and it just, we're cool. Rebecca, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I know that when you're a teen, you can't really pick where you work all the time. And I think the silver lining is it's always fun to take money from a terrible company.
Wow, that's Rebecca.
Not steal money.
That's
Rebecca,
true.
I just did not know that you had that side to you.
If you're working there, you don't have to spread their rhetoric. You can always skip. If you're stuck in this job, at least you're getting money from them.
I mean, and it's summer camp, so it's fun, and she looks forward to it, and she will grow out of it at some point and go on with her life. So I don't think you owe them a truth that would make your life unsteady at all.
This person says that they love it there, so it's not that they're holding it against them per se.
Sure.
It's just that like that's the one thing that's like, God, I wish I could change that about you,
And one of the little loopholes that I have found Christianity kind of like grabbing a hold of lately is that the New Testament doesn't say anything that's anti-LGBT. In fact, Jesus was all about forgiving people and dying for their sins, and so they kind of like Christians have been recently blaming it all on the Old Testament and saying, yeah, we're cool with it. And so I think Christianity is coming around. They found a way to kind of make it make sense for them, if you will. Brady?
I mean, it's true. You know, like Jesus comes in the New Testament and he wipes away everything that the Old Testament said. He like specifically says that, you know, and it's really, I mean, we're just catching up with like, Christianity makes no sense in the state that it exists in today. Like, there's no reason why it should be as conservative and as like awful to people.
Well,
you know,
that's a generalization too.
Of course,
of
course.
But Jesus was kind of a hippie, so like I think what Brady's saying is that like like why can't we be more open-minded and more loving?
And there are certainly
and it's who do you think Jesus would have been hanging out with if he were, you know,
or
who do you think he would hang out with today? You know,
publicans and sinners.
I was going to say that there's certainly flavors of Christianity that are all on board with that philosophy, the
open-mindedness.
And then there are others that are a little bit more conservative, and that's obviously the case in
this case. Kenneth?
I don't know. The thing about the Bible is that it's really like people read it many different ways. People can be really specific about one little sentence and completely forget the whole thing, and so that's just the problem with our time and churches and stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, you know, I think that Christianity is like it's a good thing, like, for people to learn about, you know, because there's so much that is important in it, you know?
Right.
I mean, and we have a very strong heritage, and it's part of our history as Americans. You know, it's something that we should, like, dive into, but it's, like, obviously, you know, it's gotten a bad PR because it has some of the worst spokespeople in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but the core of what it isn't something that should be, you know, ashamed of. But for this person specifically, I think that, like, it really depends on how bad it is for that individual, right? If they can deal with it, then they should keep doing it. But if they really can't, then there's no shame in quitting.
I think there's probably friends that you could confide in, but you don't have to tell any of the leadership at the camp about it. And you're not the only gay or bi kid at this camp. I promise you.
No.
10%.
This question comes from Sear Cloak 3000005. I'm in year 10, and these guys at school have been bullying me pretty bad, pushing me around and shoving me on the ground and verbally bullying me, and I don't know what to do. They scared away any possible friends that I might have had, and I can't concentrate because of them. I told my dad, and he said that this is normal, and I just have to stand up to them and be a man. Even though I come home with bruises every day, I told the school, and they just got the bullies to say that they wouldn't do it again, and they gave them no punishment. Please help. So what about this whole be a man thing? Is that enough to tell your kid who's being not just bullied verbally, but being bullied physically? Go ahead, Kenneth.
I went through the same thing in middle school. Like in PE, I would get like rocks thrown at me while I was running. And it's just one of those really hard times. Like everyone hits that kind of like really bumpy point of your life. And I mean, be a man isn't exactly the best way to put it, but it's not like be a man and just be like, stand up to them. It's more of an internal thing. And you just have to like be personally strong and not let these people like change the person that you are inside and let that change the way that you treat other people.
Yeah.
Right. But if he's being bullied to the point where other people are afraid to be his friend because they might be bullied by association. So it's like things are pretty dark right now and nothing's really being done. Like what kind of focused advice can we offer?
I'm honestly, a side note, I'm a little surprised that this is an issue at year 10.
He's in year 10. He's like a
sophomore.
Usually
right?
Kids are nicer by then.
Yeah, usually like middle school. Yes, middle school's a terrible time to be a human being. Like everything is awful then. But by year 10, you'd think that people can at least learn to live and let live, even if they don't like you for whatever reason. Anyway.
No,
sorry.
I agree. Like when I got to high school, it was like, oh, no one's, everybody. Yeah,
it's like
no one really cares about you anymore. And like that was like, whew.
Yeah.
Because people aren't like looking for like to get the target off themselves. Like, you walk into high school and everyone's just busy doing their own thing. So I don't quite get it. Although I do think that boys can sometimes have it a little more brutal than girls.
Yeah.
Brady?
I just feel like, the school didn't do anything. His parents didn't do anything. Like, there's got to be like some sort of like savior for this person.
Yeah.
Like a teacher or something that is gonna like actually, hear the situation first and then say to themselves, well, this is obviously messed up, like everybody in this room is thinking right now.
Right.
Everybody in this room, if confronted with that situation, especially if it was their kid, everybody would take action. There would be no stop to the action until something was done about it and the problem was solved. But like there's nothing happening. So like there needs to be some sort of authority that comes down upon these kids. Otherwise, like, then you got to stand up for yourself or move or whatever. Kenneth?
Yeah, the problem is that standing up for yourself, because if they're going to, the faculty and stuff and nothing's being done, if they get into a fight, that's going to make them look aggressive and that's going to make it like they're not. So the thing is that it's really internal about this stuff because if nobody's willing to help you, you have to be strong yourself because no matter what you do, it's honestly a really bad spot to be in.
A lot of kids are bullied by groups of people, and they're even bullied within their own friend group. They take it because they need friends. It's better than not having friends at all. And there's this documentary called Bully that I recommend that everybody watch. But in the film, have you seen the film?
No, but I know.
Yeah. In the film, there's this one kind of town hall meeting that they have at the school, and this one kid gets up and he says, "I used to be bullied, and the only thing that stopped is one time I just turned on my bullies and I just went ape sh. I just went effing nuts on them." And you don't have to hit them, but you can really get loud and get in their face and say, like exactly why are you choosing to spend your day doing this?
Yeah.
And bullies want to bully you, but they don't want to be called out on it. It's this weird thing. So the second you like stop all the activity, like on a bus, for example, and you just verbally let them have it, I think that can have an effect.
Yeah.
Brady?
This is a situation, where like there's something that, and it's obviously not the kid's fault, but like he's made himself a target in some way.
Well, sometimes you get a little foothold and then it just kind of spirals out of control.
Yeah, right. It doesn't even have to. It could just be like a random occurrence where these three kids, these guys at school who have been bullying him, like they just like chose him, and that's like really scary.
It keeps the target off themselves.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, but he could be the only one that they're doing this to, and it could be just totally random. And I mean, it sucks, Kenneth.
Yeah, the only problem with that is that may like some bullies may be like, oh, this is getting too much, but other people like that.
When
Some
you go nuts.
Yeah, like some people love the emotion that comes out of you, and that makes them want to do it more because they're like, oh yeah, we got a reaction out
What,
of
a
this person.
challenge now?
It's
yeah,
better.
that's true. Yes.
I think it's better than just allowing the status quo to continue.
No,
though. I
definitely.
think trying something to try
Yeah.
and enforce a change.
Definitely.
yeah.
I wonder if going to the school again would help. I mean, I know that it was just like you have to say I'm sorry, but that is the kind of the first step, asking for help the first time and getting it on record that it was a problem. It's not like the school said it's not a problem. The school said it is a problem and we're going to get them to stop. But if it has continued, and if you especially have physical evidence that's continued, although I hope that you don't, then you can go and be like, okay, you got a warning. Now, like when you get a traffic ticket, now you have a ticket.
Yeah.
If this is continuing and an apology didn't help, now what?
I mean, over the age of 18, assault is a crime.
Exactly.
They are
Yeah.
assaulting you physically. Kenneth?
Actually, forgot what I was gonna say, but I was thinking of something and I had it, and then it drifted off.
And
But
the other thing
yeah,
is, like,
ready.
no one around you who's watching this wants this to
I
happen. And the bystanders can stop the bully. And if you have one friend, try and just kind of gather that into like 2 friends, 3 friends, and like have somebody say,
What, like high noon?
Come on, you guys. Because all
We
it takes
gotta gather up.
If like one person says, you know what, come on, you guys, stop. Then a chorus will follow. It just takes one brave person to change the tide and shift it.
Yeah.
Kenneth.
I remember what I was gonna say. It's something that like I remember in high school there was this drama activity, and it was like some of like the bullies were in that class, and it was an activity where you name one of the most awful things that has happened to you in your like bullying life, in the life of having to be bullied, and like they got called out for some of the stuff that they did, and it's honestly just that feeling. Like some people, I remember I was like, you're being a bully, and they're like, oh, the bullies are always the cool people in the movies. Like everybody takes it a different way. Like some people are going to take it like that, other people are going to be like, wow, I don't want to be this person. But what are the main things? Like don't go ape but also be like, you don't understand like what you're doing. This is not someone that you want to be in as somebody else's life. And the thing about bullies is that they don't know that they're being a bully. If you go years later and you're like, do you remember when you used to do this to me? They'll be like, no, I don't remember that, because they don't know what they're doing. They're kind of they think it's fun. And so
I think they know how can they not know they're being...
Oh, no.
I would say sometimes, in some cases, you're absolutely right.
yeah.
In others,
It's
they'll realize it at some point down the line, and they'll
I think
hopefully
bullies.
apologize.
Yeah, I mean, down like let's say like 20 years forward, looking for you on Facebook. I think bullies are the ones who go around thinking about it because their actions are ones they can't reconcile. And we, the people that got bullied, tend to forget their names. And I don't remember the names of any. Like I recently friended someone on Facebook, and my mom was like, "Wasn't she your bully?" And I'm like, I don't know, because whatever, Brady.
My dad recently told me a story about how he's reconnecting with people that he knew from Santa Monica High on Facebook. And there's apparently this one kid who was just like, he was autistic, and he was, bullied mercilessly, and he was never, he never did anything about it because he's autistic. Like he
didn't have the tools. Yeah.
He was low functioning, and so like he couldn't really express himself that well, and I mean the way my dad talks about it now, it's like. Because this kid who was previously bullied on Facebook is now friends with everybody from the school, and they all like make an effort to keep up with his life.
Wow!
Like they all comment on his stuff whenever he posts it. He's married now. He's like he's done a lot for himself, considering the situation that he was in.
That's great.
And I don't know how to feel. I mean the way it seems is like the guy appreciates it that he's friends with all these people he knew from high school. But I mean, sometimes things get better, but like there's always that pain there. I mean, you gotta feel like there's some like, something wrong has happened to this kid, right? For years and years, and it's just a terrible injustice, and nothing ever happens, and then like it's all solved because they're all good friends on Facebook. I don't understand that.
I do think that there's healing in something like that, and you don't know who inboxed him and said, "Look,
of
you
course,
know what?
yeah.
I'm really sorry." And this haunts me, and you don't know what kind of private conversations he's had, but like you could, it happens. You know, my sister felt like she had made fun of this one kid for being like a first grader, and she was
Wait, really?
yeah, she was saying to like one of the second graders, oh, if only we weren't in here with all the first graders. And she looked, and this first grader was looking at her. That's haunted her. She saw the girl in Buffalo. She walked up to her. She's like, I would like to apologize. And the girl was like, I do not remember this incident.
I kicked a kid in the eye in first grade.
And so if you need to get it off your chest, like get it off your chest. But the kid probably, you know, like I don't know, like I think it's actually worse for the bully.
Yeah.
Like because they're the
It
ones
is.
that have an action that they have to kind of correct in a way. And I think by being friends with this kid on Facebook, it's helping everybody.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them were just following along. They didn't
Yeah.
even have it in for the kid. They were just sort of following along. Kenneth?
This back to the question really quickly. It's just that whatever you do, don't let this bullying define who you are.
Right.
Don't let it like the thing that we were talking about, the gay thing. Don't let it be your core. Like, have other qualities. Go try sports. Go have a hobby. Be that person that it has so many things to be able to talk about. So that bullying thing means nothing
And
anymore.
friends too, you know, friends who are like invested in, you know, your personal well-being, because I mean that's ultimately the ultimate bully defense.
But there's that problem that you just said about like no one wants to be his friend because people
He
are
should
bullied.
join. He
sucks,
should join
yeah.
like lots of clubs so that there's people there with faculty advisors, so
Yes.
that he's making friends under supervised situations, so that people get to know him on a different level.
safe places in the school, like for
Yeah.
him to go to.
Oh,
He should
yeah.
be looking out for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I want to just thank everyone for being with us. This has been our animation celebration show, and I want to thank.
We talked so much about
We
animation.
did. We talked for 15 to 20 solid minutes about it. Thank you, Rebecca Goldberg. Anything you want to plug that people should check out?
Watch Dawn of the Croods on Netflix.
Yes.
First season dropped on Christmas Eve, and I also work on The Adventures of Puss in Boots, which is a great show. It's also on 2 seasons are on Netflix. Check it out.
Yay. And Kyle, what about you? Anything you want to talk about?
I would definitely say check out Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans and
Whoa, that subtitle.
Quite
You
a
got me
title.
there.
also Your Lie in April. It's a fantastic show, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
All-star titles, got it.
Caitlin?
Nothing for me right now.
Yay.
But, yeah.
I'm in the new Star Wars. If you haven't seen that
Right.
yet,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
great. I play the main bad guy, Kylo Ren. So that's what's cooking up for me.
Yay.
All right,
Oh,
this has
thank
been
you.
Journals Out
Adam Driver.
Loud.
Drivers Out Loud. And subscribe to our channel and download our app. We love you. Bye-bye.